Cycle touring is the most relaxing holiday you can have. Here's why. Perhaps you've been cycle touring loads of times and you just love watching YouTube videos about it. Perhaps you've never done it before and you're kind of, interested in it, but it looks pretty tricky. Well, I'm here to tell you that if you're looking for a relaxing holiday, getting on your bike and cycling from A to B is what you're looking for. And this seems like quite a counterintuitive thing because cycle touring is usually pretty energetic. You are at the bare minimum cycling at some point during each day. And while we're on this subject, let's just quickly talk about what cycle touring actually is, because there's a little bit of confusion. Now, I'm not the arbiter on cycle touring versus bikepacking, and I'm not even sure of the difference because nobody seems to know the actual difference. But here is what I come to understand. Cycle touring is usually done on roads. It's normally done on some kind of touring bike. You can cycle tour on anything, but if it's capable of what a touring bike is capable of, so, perhaps slightly uneven roads, XYZ, you're gonna be okay. Cycle tourers typically have panniers on the back, maybe handlebar bags, or maybe bar bags, that kind of thing. They can go long distances every day because they're on roads, they're not off-road that often, or they can do short distances, it's kind of up to them. Cycle tourers also usually carry a lot of stuff with them, so they might have tents and roll mats and stuff like that, so they can camp during their adventure. Other people cycle tour really lightly and hardly have anything at all and stay in bed and breakfasts or hotels or whatever. The main thing that I come to understand about cycle touring is really that it takes place on the road. Bikepacking seems to be much more off-road. People have more inline bags, I guess, to stop catching on stuff like, I don't know, bushes and other terrain-esque sticky outy things. Bikepacking is ultralight usually because if you're having inline bags, you can't have bulky panniers filled with nice stuff. So you're probably more likely, I guess, to either wild camp extremely lightly or stay in accommodation. Whatever the difference is, I'm talking about how I understand cycle touring, which is carrying some kind of pannier on the bike, some kind of bags, and cycling on tarmac. Cycle touring also has to, I guess, take place over more than one day, otherwise you're just going out for a bike ride. So what am I talking about and why do I mean that cycle touring is the most relaxing holiday ever? Well, it's really, really simple. No matter how physically difficult your route of the day is, all you have to do that day is cycle from A to B. That's all you have to do. At some point along the way, you're gonna have to find some food or you'll have to stock up with food to eat along the way. At the end, you're gonna have to have booked or find somewhere to stay. That's it. So by relaxing, what I'm really talking about is mentally relaxing. And you don't realize how much heavy cognitive load is going on in your brain until you remove yourself from that environment, your normal day-to-day environment, whether that's work, family, I don't know, scrolling the internet, whatever. You don't realize how heavy that mental load is until you do something as all-consuming and single-minded as cycle touring. And I don't think cycle touring is necessarily the only way that this happens. Bikepacking, for instance, I imagine would have the same effect. I know long distance sailing had the same effect for me too. If you're going to run multi-days or even hike multi-days, those will have the same effect. I'm choosing cycle touring because I love it so much. And every time I go on a cycle touring break, I really feel that mental load lift and I feel so much calmer. When you wake up in the morning on a cycle tour, you need to eat breakfast and then you need to pack your stuff and you need to get on your bike. You spend the day or however many hours you're cycling that day, just following your route. You can see stuff on the way, blah, 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 blah. You're not looking at your phone. You're not thinking about the news. You're not thinking about your mortgage or your rent. You're not thinking about anything. Your mind does wander cycle touring. It does daydream and gives you space to think about all kinds of things, but you're not bogged down in the minutiae of every single day. All you really have to do is get to the end. And you have to go up some hills, you have to go down some hills, you might have to cycle on a gravel track, you might have to find somewhere to lock your bike for lunch, whatever. But it's really very simple. And then when you get to the end point, when you get to your hotel or your campsite, whatever, you then get changed, you take a shower, you think about what you're going to eat for dinner, you go find that, and then you get into bed and you go to sleep because you're tired, physically tired, but not mentally tired. I find cycle touring so valuable, even though I don't do anything incredible, I don't do any long distances particularly. My cycle tours tend to be between, I don't know, 200 and 300 miles maybe each time if I'm going for like a 5 days or a week or something like that. I'm only cycling for, you know, sort of 4 to 6 hours a day. I'm taking lots of breaks to see nice things. All I really need to do is go from A to B. That's it. And because I'm doing that, and that is the most important thing, I don't have the time, I don't care about anything else. There's nothing else. Nothing else exists when you're cycle touring. You're just doing that thing. You don't have to plan excursions, you don't have to think about activities that you might do. No, 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 no. Your entire holiday is cycling from A to B every day. That's it. So whether you have cycle toured before or you're considering doing it but you're a bit afraid, please just go and try it. You don't have to do big distances, you don't have to do big hills, go to somewhere flat, I don't know, wherever is suitable and accessible for you. But go try cycle touring, even if it's for 2 days, because it takes you away from the rest of life. And I don't mean you need to escape anything, but it's very easy to get cognitively bogged down in life. And when you go away on a holiday as simple as cycle touring, where you just really have one thing to do every day, it alleviates all that strain and it reinvigorates you. When you come back, you feel so much better and lighter and happier because you've sort of got back to that really simple way of living, just for a few days, just for a week, whatever. But I'm also really curious to find out what you think. Have you found cycle touring to be mentally freeing? Have you found it calming and relaxing? Even when it's difficult or cold or too hot or too hilly, or I don't know, you got lost, you got lots of punctures, like please tell me what your experiences are because I'm sure they'll be different to mine. And thanks for watching this video and I will see you in the next one.